All right, so I'm gonna pick right up with the graph review down at the bottom. We're gonna go through bar graph, a frequency table, line plot, circle graph, and stem and leaf plot. All right, so let's start. We're going to use this bar graph at the right to answer the following questions about the scenario. A game company asked people at the mall which game console they owned, and the results are recorded here. So how many people were surveyed? So just as a reminder, when you're looking at a bar graph, you got to look all the way to the top. I usually write the number of people, or that bar represents. So 9 people bought a PS3. 1 bought the Xbox, and then you can obviously continue on. Okay, so if I were to ask question A, how many people were surveyed, now it's nice and easy. You can go ahead and add up 9, 1, 5, 2, and 4. So you should get 21 people. Okay. All right, B, what percent of people own a PS3? Now, I don't want you to say 9% because that's not true. We have to think relative to the amount of people that are in this graph. So we would take 9, and you can write it over here if you need more room, and we're going to put it over the number of people that are in the graph. So there are 21 people being represented in this graph, okay? So if you wanted to convert that to a percent, fraction to percent, we would go fraction to decimal first, divide 9 by 21. You should get 0.43, so that's going to be our 43%. All right, and then C, what is the probability that a person owns the Wii? Okay, so we just got off of our probability unit. So how many people own the Wii? Well, there are 2 people who own the Wii out of the amount of people in the survey, and that's 21. So 2 out of 21, the probability. If I asked what the probability of getting a PS3, you would say 9 out of 21. Xbox, 1 out of 21, excuse me. And you can't reduce that. Okay, go ahead and flip it over. We'll start at the top. I'm going to screen shade this. All right. So you're going to be given, you could be given data like this. The following are the test scores from Miss last science test. Okay, so they give you a bunch of data, and then it wants you to do a frequency table off this. So really, a frequency table is you can either tally or you can number. I'm going to do both. So you're going to look at your data and you're going to say, okay, my interval is 60 to 69. All of these intervals are going to be the same number of numbers. And we'll talk more about intervals when we do histograms. So we're going to say, well, how many numbers are between 60 and 69? We'll look at our data. So there are 3 numbers in between 60 and 69. And again, you can either tally it or you can write it. And then 70 to 79, tally or write. Probably understanding this. And then 80 to 89, this time we got 5. And then 91, 96, and 98 would be in my last group, okay? So then you can answer the questions based off of the frequency table. Approximately how many students scored higher than a 79%? So higher than a 79 does not mean equal to, okay? So that would be everyone that's 80 and above. So that's only 5 people for this group and 3 people for this group, so that would be 8 people. Okay, and then if you were asked how many students were in the class, you're just going to add up the number of numbers, right? So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 kids in the class. Okay, next we have the line plot. So the line plot looks like this. X's are marked for the hours. So, but they represent one person. So, your x-axis is the amount of hours someone watched TV. So 4 people watched 0 hours of TV. 2 people watched 1 hour. 3 people watched 2 hours. That's what those are representing. Those X's represent people. So you want to say how many people were surveyed? Well, you're going to add up or count up the X's, not add, just count them up. So we got 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can keep going. You can pause it. So you should get 31. 31 people were surveyed. Okay? Go ahead and answer B, C, and D on your own. When you're done with those 3, raise your hand and we'll double check. All right, so you should have gotten B, C, and D checked, so I'm not going to put the answers on there. And we'll move on to number 3, the circle graph. This is a circle graph. Answer the following questions about the amount of sneakers that were sold this month. First question. Well, let's look at the graph first. So there's always percentages around a graph. Now, Adidas doesn't have a percent there, so what you could do if they were asking how much percentage Adidas was is just take it away from 100 because all a circle graph should add up to is 100%. So if we did 100 minus 32 minus 10 minus 15 minus 18, we would get 25 because all of the other ones add up to 75. Okay, so just so we can compare. Now, A says, if 200 people were surveyed, then how many people bought Nikes this month? Okay, so that's giving me a indication that I'm going to be comparing the Nike percent to the total, and then I want to know how many people that translate to. What is 32% of this 200? So we have to write a proportion. All right, so we always remember that percents go over what number? Should go over 100 because that circle graph or pie graph, whatever you want to say, is out of 100. So 32 people bought Nikes, so I'll just label this. And then I want to know how many people, that's the percent. I want to know how many people that translates to. So I don't know how many people it does, but I know that 200 people were surveyed, or it says if. So the bottom is really your total, and the top is the Nikes. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and cross multiply and figure out what X is. Again, these two questions, you can do them on your own. Remember, most is the most occurring number. Okay, so A and B, you should be good on your own. Pause the video and then raise your hand when you're done. Okay, so then we'll do number 4 together. Start number 4 together at least. Number 4 is a stem and leaf plot, which is actually one of my favorite graphs. So what we want to do for a stem and leaf plot is use the data and fill out. The stem is like your tens place. So I want you to write that in. This is like our tens place. And then the leaf is like our ones place, if we're talking about place value. Okay, so the following data is the number of sit-ups each student performed in Mr. Keston's class. So we're going to create a stem and leaf plot based off of that. Okay, so let's take a look at our first number. We've got 34. So the 3 is going to go here in the tens place. And then our 4 is going to go in the leaf or the ones place. Now you just have to put a little bit of space in between for your next number. Your next number is 36, so we're going to put a 6 behind the 4. Your next number is 38, so we've got an 8. And we do have 32 38s, so we do need to include both because they're important in finding the mean and the median, which we'll be doing in a second. Okay, the next one is 40s. Okay, so my tens is the 4. We have 40. We have 43, 46, 47, and 47. And lastly, the 50s. 50, we have 2 50s, a 51, and a 52. So now you have your data in a stem and leaf plot. You can answer the questions based off of this data. You could even look at the list too. It's just 2 different ways to present the information. So I want you to find the mean, find the median, and then tell me how many people did more than 44 sit-ups. So I'll just go ahead and mark these again. These should be your U-tries. When you're done, just raise your hand and we will check those as well. Good job.